Well, good morning. Just shooting this from a secret location in London, and I thought I would show you the latest Matchbox models that I've managed to pick up in Asda. So here we go. Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, there you go. That's it. I haven't been able to pick up any new Matchbox models now from Asda, that wonderful retailer, for, well, a very long time. This is Matchbox singles, obviously 5 packs. Yes, you can buy those until the cows come home because you can get them from other places. But in terms of Matchbox basic single models, I don't think I've bought any of those now for at least 2 months, maybe even 3. Yeah, what a shame. So yeah, it's great. I mean, look at this one. This is good, and I've been really looking forward to getting that one. There's that one there. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I'm really like that one. Yeah, that's good. Oh yes, and maybe also see these ones that have got opening features that everybody's talking about, and the Matchbox Superfast 50 set as well. That's great. Look at that. Yeah. Okay, forgive my cynicism, but there is a good point to be made here. Mattel, you are absolutely really letting down collectors in the UK and across various other territories apart from the United States of America. Asda, don't even bother, because you're not bothering anyway. I really don't know what's going on. I'm getting to the point where actually I don't really care. In fact, actually I'm lying. The last Matchbox model, new one that I bought, was in fact a model that was in WH Smith's. They don't sell them anymore, but it was old stock, and it was a 2013 model. And I bought that about 2 weeks ago. So I did lie. Terribly sorry. Enough of me, really. Terribly sorry, and I hope you've enjoyed looking at this area of desk in its wonderful greyness. There you go, there it is again, and hopefully at some point I might be able to actually show you some new Matchbox models. Don't know when that is. Anytime, whenever Asda and Mattel can bother to sort things out. Have a good day.
Yes, I know, Mark. It is a very dire situation with that Matchbox in the UK right now. I just hope that Mattel can sort things out. Let's hope 2019 is a lot better than 2018's been. So here we go. Revelation is that Majorette have boosted stuff. Basically, TK Maxx, you can pick up these 5 packs for £9. That makes the cars around about £2 a pop, which is absolute bargain. Toys R Us was selling these at £3 a pop per car, so it was coming out at £15 for a 5-pack, which is scary. Very nice models though, all premium of course. Morrisons, go check out your Morrisons. They've got some new cars in, and these are beauts. There's the new Audi R8 with a convertible, and a new recolor on this. This is a Citroen, I think it's a C3 or something like that. Anyway, nice, looking good. There are other recolors of other famous cars as well, so I'm going to be keeping my eyes peeled on what's going on in Morrisons. Other big news from Majorette is home bargains, yeah, and these are an astonishing £1 each. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you the original price, but get down to home bargains while you can, because the bargains are there. All these are cars that models that I've been wanting for quite some time. I managed to pick up most of the cars that I wanted. Still looking for an Aston Martin, which hopefully will come along. We shall see. That's nice, isn't it? That's kind of the then and now. Look at those two, look. Boom, boom. And finally, probably the cream of the crop was this Land Rover. That is gorgeous. So there you go. Home bargains, Morrisons, TK Maxx. We're all selling some nice new Majorettes. And let's go back to over to see Mark again and see what he's been doing. with that Escort.
Going to be the first stage of a restore, refresh, custom, or whatever you want to call it, on this Corgi Ford Escort, which will date probably from the, I'd imagine, mid to late 80s. It's one that was made in the UK, whereas I think it says just GB. Opening doors, he says. Trying to open them. There you go. So this will be a bit of an evolving one, really, just depending on how things go, but just really to make it a little bit more attractive than it is, I would dispense with these wheels. Let's see what we can do with it. So that's stage one, and then I will chart its progress. I've just drilled this apart now. I'm going to lever it all apart so you can see inside it. There's the base, fairly basic, crimped in metal points for the axles, and then we'll just shake this body apart so you can see it. Never taken one of these apart before, so I'm not quite sure how it all comes apart. Bear with me. Yeah, I'm going to have to pause. Well, that was why it was more difficult, because these parts had separated, so the console and the dashboard and the steering wheel section, which is part of that assembly, which you can see has come apart. It reveals some of the very basic, straightforward detail. The glass is in good shape, which is always a good sign when you're doing these. You get better results. And here is your top casting there, with how the doors are kept in place with that piece of tempered steel rod. So let's see how we get on with this one. The next stage will be stripping. Not me, you don't want to see that, the model itself. Welcome back to the stripping stage. So we have nitrum ores, which is a rather hazardous paint stripper. We have a metal dish. Okay, this is some of you might recognise this is from Atlas. I'll use that. This allows me to put the model in here, put the paint stripper on it, put the lid on, stops the fumes coming out, and it also helps to aid the whole process of stripping, because it keeps all those stripping agents together. And some rubber gloves, essential because you're handling that, which is nasty and it will take your skin away. This is just a paintbrush for putting the paint stripper on. So I'm not going to show that process because I can't hold the camera and do the process at the same time. So I will show you once I've applied it and then put the lid on, and then we'll come back to it when it's stripped. And that's paint stripper on the model. You can see stuff is starting to happen already. It's starting to bubble up. Unfortunately, I didn't have as much paint stripper left in that can as I thought. I was literally scraping the barrel, as they say, to get the last eking bits out. So there you go. And I'm going to be putting the lid on now. And it says the lid goes on, and then we'll leave that for a while. Not too long, but the longer the better in some ways. And then that should just take all that off, and then I can wash it, and it should be clean. And then I will put a wire brush over it just to get the loose bits off, and it'll be ready for spraying. Okay, so we're back again, and this Escort has been sat in the strip box for about, I don't know, an hour and a half to 2 hours, and the paint stripper has taken off from most of the areas, so it clings into certain areas that are difficult to get to, so I will put a wire brush over that, and hopefully that'll clean the rest of it off. The interior paint colour is still there, but I'm not too bothered about that because it's inside, not on the outside. So let's see what happens after I've wire brushed it, and it should be ready then for spraying. And that's just I've just put a wire brush over that, two different strengths, so to speak, of wire brush. As you can see, the metal surface is rather pitted. That is more just to do with, you know, the manufacturing process at the time. You can also see some sort of irregularities in the casting, but this was a particular casting that was in production for a long time, and so as time goes by, the tooling, the mould, so to speak, that the model comes out of tend to age, and you get creepage going past some of the you know, defined areas. So it's not bad. I mean, you know, I'm not creating a masterpiece. It's just having a bit of fun a lot of the time, but it's come out quite nice. You can see it's got a bit of a shine to it now where I've buffed it up. You can see the scratches actually, but once that's got paint on it, certainly if it's got primer on it, it would fill some of those holes anyway. So there you go. As you see, still dark on the inside. We're not worried about that. Okay, so that's sprayed now. Sorry about the rather jangly background there, but it's I'm just putting it on a pole. This is the pole I used to spray it on. You can see that's blue tack, like a putty, to hold it in. It's in fact actually an old umbrella. Can you believe that? So there you go. Can't really actually do any more camera work than that, but it hasn't actually got undercoat on it and is straight out of the can. And the reason for that, I wouldn't normally do it, is because I don't have any primer, white primer, which I'd normally use. So straight from the can. There are some advantages and disadvantages of that. One, you don't always get the best colour because it's always better on white. It works better, but two, you don't get another layer of gunk which can clog details right at the front there. So there you go. Alright, and then we'll have that dry soon and we can see what it looks like, and then maybe even put it together. It's been a quick job, this one. It's really just to demonstrate how quickly you can do it. So just to show you the interior and wheels. The wheels are Matchbox ones from the late 80s, early 90s, which I've silvered in. We'll see what they look like when it's all put together. And then the interior plastic is grey originally, which I blacked in around the edges and then painted in those red centre bits there just to give it a sort of 80s boy racer thing going on. So that's that, and we'll see it all put together when everything's dry. No point in rushing it and getting finger marks on the paint. So there you go. Right, well this is actually a week on from when I did the work on this, and I thought I'd just give you a little bit of an update on the Escort, Corgi Ford Escort that I was doing. So it has received paint. It's sitting on Matchbox wheels from the 1990s, early 90s, and it's awaiting some detailing. That'll be the bumpers and the lights, and there's the interior. So it's looking good, I think. And these front wheels, I think I might have to do some work on because they're rubbing against the bodywork. And just work out whether we're going to take that tow bar off. So there you go, and then the next little video will be hopefully completed. Well, you join me at the detailing stage. It's not gone particularly well today because of this black paint here. Should be semi-gloss satin, and unfortunately it's come out rather glossy, but anyway. We've painted in some of the detail. Sorry, I've painted in some of the details. I'm talking a real royal we. As you can see, yeah, that should be really matte. So I'm a bit annoyed when you put the effort in, sometimes it is quite annoying, but mine's just the lights above are a bit shiny. Anyway, it looks a bit crap at the moment, and that's because it's just a dry fit, so it shouldn't lean like that. It's not been a suspension collapse, it's just to get a feel for things. So yeah, not best pleased with the results at the moment. It's, front end looks nice, and that's really just to do with the way that it's been cast. It allows you to do that sort of level of detail. Comes out quite good. So anyway, there you go. Welcome back to this last thrilling instalment of A Grown Man Paints a Toy Car, out in cinemas never. So this is the Corgi Escort. Obviously you've been seeing this, and my crude turntable, piece of spinning paper, no expense spared. So that's what I've done now. I've actually filled in the centre, the hubs, the wheels. It looks a bit crude, I suppose, but basically it is bits of plastic from an aircraft kit, plastic kit, the sprue, the bits that all the parts are on. And I just cut the ends of them and little discs almost just to cover over those holes. Sort of works, but there you go. It's finished. So, as I said, not exactly the most thrilling piece of cinematography ever, but there you go. Touched in the Ford badge, done the lights, and as I said before, I'm a bit disappointed that the sorry, try and stay awake in the back there. I'm a bit disappointed with the black paint because it should have been a satin finish and it's come out gloss, but never mind. There you go. The doors do open still. There's the interior, you can just make it out. I've painted the steering wheel black, it was grey before. No aerofoil on the back, and it's not really an XR3. You can study your pictures, but it's, you know, it'll do. And it's better than it was before. And that's the whole point. Just to take something that's a bit knackered and make it a bit better. And it will go nicely with my other Fords that I've done, which I'll show you now. So, back again. And these are all done by me. They are all customs of things. So that's the Matchbox Ford RS200. That's the one just done. That's the Sierra by Matchbox XR4i. So they sort of go together. In the background, this is the P68 F3L, otherwise known as the Ford Group 6. Done in Alan Mann colours. That is the Hot Wheels Escort, done in Alan Mann colours. And that is the Ford GT40 by Matchbox with the famous Eleanor wheels. Rather small for the wheel wells, but never mind. So there you go, sporting Fords, all in red, various different shades. And as you can see with that Escort in the middle, if I'd had undercoats and a primer, it would have come out probably more like that. So that's why you need a white base coat. But there you go. And that's because I didn't have any primer. And a pot of Humber in the background. Okay, and I think you're ready for coma now, so I shall let you go.
Well, I went to Hobby Lobby in Americano. I went to Hobby Lobby because I wanted to get some green lights. It's the only shops that sell green light in America right now, well, as far as I know, in Florida at least, is Hobby Lobby. And I picked up this piece here. And this is a brand new release from Greenlight. Well, fairly new. Just come over to the UK. I noticed on Modelmatic's page that they've just got this series in, Series 7 of the V-Dub Club. There's no information in the back really, I don't think, that tells you any other vehicles. I know that there's a rather nice Samba and there's a little pickup, and there's a sporticious version of this one. This is a new tooling, I believe. I picked it up really because it had a hook. What I really wanted from Greenlight though, in America when I was there, was some police cars. I could have done with a couple of probably not anything from 1967 to 1977 police cars. That's what I was looking for. That's why I went to the lobby of Hobby, was to pick up those. But I did get to see a lot of Greenlight pieces that at first hand that I would never have seen normally at first hand. And I can make a much more informed decision now when I go online to buy some stuff in the future, knowing, because Greenlight has a lot of spare parts on their cars, lots of bits and pieces all hanging in there, which then lends itself to fault, I guess, and detracts quite a lot from the piece itself. Something that I was seeing a lot on the M2s, and hence the reason why, with the limited budget that I had, I wasn't going to pick them up, because I just wanted to get El Supremo. I just wanted to, for the price, and I wanted to get something nice, if you know what I mean. And I had limited space in my luggage and limited cash in my pocket. But I did see this, and I really liked it, so I grabbed it. And I'm going to have a look and see what it looks like in the raw. So here she is, nicely cut and ready to be released. Ooh, yeah, another good piece to buy in the States, especially if you've got luggage issues. Comes very, very tightly encased, and thus keeps it nice and safe. It's actually a nice heavy little piece. It's got a metal base, lovely, lovely casting on the base there. The engine up the rear, of course. It's not maximum detail, but enough to pass it off as a very cool piece. And of course this is a 2018 release. It's got separate bumpers. Wow, they're chrome, plastic chrome bumpers, front and rear by the looks of things. It's got this really awesome roof rack on the top there. Now that is very, very well done. Again, a lot can go wrong with casting in plastics and mixing it with metal, and you've got to glue it all together, and of course things are going to fall off. But in this case, I think I picked a good one. Let's go around the front there. Could have done with some rims probably around those lights, just to emphasize the chrome. I think they're just pure, yeah, they're just clear plastic stuck in there. Nice little painted marker lights, or indicators as we call them in the UK. And round the rear as well, they're all painted in. Of course it's got the hook, and you'll see why that's important in a minute. I think this one's got an opening, yes it does, it has an opening boot. I've been dying to see what's actually inside there. I'm guessing there's seats. It does look like it has the seats in there. There they are. So you've got room for little passengers in the back there. And this car's actually, it's not what my dad drove, but it reminded me of my dad. He had a Reliant three-wheeler Regal van, a lot like the Del Boy van, but in white. And in the rear he had seats, but he used it as a van quite often. He was a mechanic, but he used to take us around in the car, in the van. So yeah, this is very reminiscent of that experience, and I kind of liked it because it was very workaday. I love the colour of it. It's a sort of, well, it's a very strange beige. You could almost call it grey beige or something. So what we got here at the rear, it's a black tin, but it is a functional mirror, window at the back there. You can see through it. It's got rubberized wheels by the looks of it. So yeah, they are separate tyres on top of those hubs. They're a little bit messy. That was the only thing that struck me, was that the wheels looked a little bit grubby. I suppose the rubber on there is a little, yeah, it's not too bad. I'll try and straighten those out before I take some pictures of her. But there she is. This is Type 3, 1963, Volkswagen panel van. And it's only a panel van because they couldn't be bothered to put windows in. But that's pretty cool. Now the reason I bought this piece was because for a long time sitting in my mate's shop in Rushden was this. Yeah, that's how much it cost. A vintage 16-foot Airstream Bambi. Now, I know what you're thinking. Will that 1600 engine be big enough to pull this beast around? Well, I'm going to have a look. Have a quick look at the back here. It's a lovely little bit of a story. Wally's Creed. I'll read that to you. In the heart of these words is an entire life stream. To those of you who find in the promise of these words your promise, I bequeath this creed. My dream belongs to you. To place the great wide world at your doorstep for you who yearn to travel with all the comforts of home. To provide a more satisfying, meaningful way of travel that offers complete travel independence wherever and whenever you choose to go or stay. To keep alive and make real an enduring promise of high adventure and faraway lands, of rediscovering old places and new interests. Wow. Stirring stuff indeed. Well, here she is, my first and only green light towable vehicle. Wow, it's really heavy. Wow, it's got a metal base, metal top, lots of little plastic details on there. Nice little rear end on there, which is very heavy indeed. Oh, look at that door. So inviting. You do actually see these in the UK. There are people out there who go out of their way, especially to get these. There's some interesting muddy paw marks on there from its construction. Oh dear, look at that. Someone's had some fun. Nice little propane tanks on there. But let's just not lose that special spare part. I'm going to insert that. And then we'll test her out. Oh, looks good. It's all stuck in nicely. Inserted it is. Inserted to a reasonable depth so that it doesn't need to be fiddled around with too much. Of course, this little screw jack is made of plastic, so very easy to break and quite fiddly. But anyway, let's test out the ball joint. Oh, yes, there we go. Actually, not too bad. So there we go. It's not an official hitch and tow vehicle, but it does look quite cool, especially with that roof rack. And there you go. So the 1600 engine, not ideal as a towing engine, but obviously, yeah, in the UK we prefer 1800 and up. But I suppose if this caravan was empty, not too bad at all. Looks quite nice actually, almost European. And there you go, my first hitch and tow. Oh look, it's the 1600 Owners Club meeting. Amazing.